Hey there and welcome to a new Blender tutorial. In this one we're going to make these modular panels here, or at least I'm going to show you how to make them. So without any further ado, let's hop straight into the Edit tabs and Preferences, and you're going to need an add-on which is called Loop Tools. Just type in Loop here and it will apply. So next up, what we're going to do is get a plane, which is going to be our base object for the mesh that we're going to make, and next up we're going to go into Edit mode by pressing Tab. Now with the Loop Tools add-on enabled, what you should be able to see is this Edit tab, which says Loop Tools. Right here we have all our options which we're going to need for this tutorial. Now I'm going to select the face so it's highlighted, and then I'm going to press F3 and search for Subdivide. Now what is important to know is that we are going to apply symmetry here. So we basically want a line that is going across the y-axis and one that is going across the x-axis. So for that you're going to need an odd number here. So something like 2 or 4 is not going to apply because we're not going to have that center line across any of these. So I'm going to choose 31 segments, and that is going to be fine for what we're going to do. It's quite high poly for something, but hey, it's going to look good, and if you don't like that it has so many faces, you can just read the apologizes later. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get these center pieces here, and I'm going to apply circle a few times to all of those layers, like so, and I'm going to make something out of it. So first I'm going to insert it once, just a tiny bit, and a little bit more, and then just another tiny bit. I'm going to get those faces here and extrude them up. I'm going to also give this some edge rings so that once we go to subdivision mode, this here looks nice and sharp. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some other faces, those in here, and I'm going to actually insert once more. Or no, I'm not going to insert, I'm just going to move them down like this and scale them down. Now I'm going to insert it a bit, and as you can see we should have inserted again, because now we're getting that weird thing where we don't have a loop that is going around. So I'm just going to take this, insert it a fair bit, like so, that we still get the edge, and I'm going to bring it down, and now we can actually crease this up like so, and it looks nice. Now I'm going to get these inside faces, I'm going to scale them up a bit, insert, bring it up like so, and I want to extrude once more. I'm going to give this a crease again. I'm just adding in an edge loop with Ctrl R and then beveling it, Ctrl B. So that is that. I'm going to add a few more edge loops, bevel them out, extrude the faces along the normals, and because that is very soft, I'm going to insert all of that a little bit, and now we're going to get something that looks like this. Now for this one here, for the top, I actually want this to be extruded inwards. I'm going to scale it out, insert, extrude, scale, insert, and make it sharp like this, and one more like this. Now that looks basically okay. We can also give this another small hole, which is going to complement the look a little bit more, like so, and now we basically have a middle piece. Now what we can do is go into this selection mode here, the wireframe view, and we can just basically delete the top half and then the side half. Just make sure that you have deleted everything. Okay. Now you might be wondering why we did that. It is because we are going to apply the mirror modifier in the correct order, of course, with the subdivision being on the bottom, and we're going to mirror this along the x and the y axis. So now we have basically everything back that we also had before, but with the added benefit of only having to work with 1/4 of the mesh. Now, this is basically all just freeforming, so you might just go ahead and select this, inset it, but now as you see, it's insetting everything. Maybe you don't want it, maybe you only want the you want this here to be selected. So what you can do in that case is just inset by pressing I and then press B. That is going to allow you to actually make a border selection only. So now you get this, and when you extrude it down, you can see we also get faces here, and that is not desirable. So what you can do in that case, or actually let me just expand this by one more. I like that. What you can do is just inset, drag it all the way outside so it doesn't actually inset a bit, and then press G and Z. That is going to give you the same thing, but basically without the faces on the edge. I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to crease this up, get another division here, and now I basically only need to select this and inset, bring it down, and crease this up again. Now we get something that looks like this, which isn't really too bad. We can also give the corners a little bit of definition, like this, or like this. That is fine, I think. Okay, I'm going to inset this again, just a small amount, without having this face selected, of course. Bring this in, and now I'm going to apply circle. Okay, so now I'm going to move this up here. Or actually, what I'm going to do before applying circle is inset this again, and I'm going to then apply circle. So I get the added benefit of having more definition in here. Now I'm going to bring this up. So basically now what we're having is we're getting a sharp fall off into a circle, which is really nice. Now what we can do is basically inset it again to give it the sharpness, and now what we want to do is, or before we actually do that, let us align this here. Now we basically want to align the vertices, we want to enable snapping, vertex snapping, and we want to align these along the x-axis with the rest of the mesh. And now we want to align these here along the y-axis. And this one here should be aligned to both axes. Okay, now we basically got this. And we can, of course, inset it. We haven't ruined the shape at all. Still looks nice. Or what we can actually do before we do that is, because I think this here looks kind of awkward where it pinches in, we can, of course, snap these here to the outside in order to get some better subdivision. Now we're basically going to get something that looks a little bit nicer. Maybe we want to get this one there as well. This is just basically freeforming everything out, so basically you can do whatever you like. It's only a matter of what you deem to be nice or pleasant. Okay, now we want to select this here, circle. I'm going to get it right here, and then I'm going to get this here without the circle and inset everything like so. Now if I press Ctrl+, you can actually increase the effect of this here being torn to the inside by just enabling the active element here, going to vertex selection and making this vertex here the active element. When I scale it in, you can see we get this nice pinching or ramping effect. Now, the more I scale it, the steeper the ramp becomes. I want this to actually go a little bit higher, and that is about what I want. Now I'm going to get these here again, going to extrude them downwards. I'm going to scale them in just a little bit. Inset, inset again. I'm going to bring that up, scale it, extrude it up, and for this one I'm going to delete the cap and just fill it with an angle. The reason I'm doing that is because I'm just going to be selecting this here, inset twice or press I twice, bring it in just a little bit, and now you get this sort of shape here. I'm going to crease this up like so. Now it looks like you have a cap on something. Okay. You can further increase this effect by just bringing this up, scaling it in, and insetting twice more. Like so. Now that you got that, we can get another detail in here. I basically want here to be a very large detail. Let's try it like this. I'm going to inset it a little bit, just once, and then inset again without moving it, bring it down, and now we got this detail right here. Basically, this might not exactly be what you want. We're going to get rid of it. Basically, I want to turn this off, so I don't really have too much to work with. And now in top view, I'm going to bring this in just to enhance the roundness, and as you can see, it gets a little bit round on the edges. Now, what do I want to do with this? I'm going to basically do the same thing again, and then I'm going to bring it up again. Going to scale towards this point, oops, scale towards this point, which gives us this kind of thing. And now I'm going to bring this down. And I think that looks nice. Yep, that's going to look good. Okay, now this area right here, I can see another place for an interesting detail with this here. So you can see how making this a circle just gives you a visual indication that you can do something there. I'm going to change this back to median point. I'm going to choose vertex selection. I'm going to actually bring these here in. So, I'm going to select that, inset, inset again, bring it up, inset, inset again, bring it down, scale it, now I get this detail. If I inset again, make it a circle. Bring it over here, insert once more, bring it down, scale it in, inset, we get this, which I think looks kinda okay. Now we can get another interesting detail over here. Going to insert this again. Basically, insetting is really good for actually getting edge loops around here. Oops. Enable clipping. Now it should work better. Okay, I think this is too small. Let's try it like this. I think this here looks good. Now I can just take this. Get something like that happening, while getting a large detail in here. Oops, we don't want to triangulate it. Now you will need to sharpen things up, either by applying creases or giving this edge loops like I'm doing here. I think the edge loop method works good enough for this. Looks interesting. Now we could actually just take this, bring it up like so, and apply some edge loops. Let's see if they actually disturb anything. Nope, they do not. Yeah, like this. Now that could be some sort of holding mechanism or something like that. Let's see. We can also, now that gives me some sort of track with a nice lane here, which might be interesting to something. Let's see, what if I take this here, just extrude it down. I can just delete this here. Bring this here back, and this here up. That works. And get this here to bulge, which is interesting. Oops, duplicated that. Maybe it's not so good if it's bulging. Maybe like a ramp fall off would be better. Yes, and we can also just take all of this, bring it down. You can press E to conform it to one side. Now it's conformed to the top. If you press F, you're going to conform it to the bottom. It's going to make it a lot easier to work with. Kind of destroys what we have here, so I'm going to bring this up. Okay, it's better without the loop. I think it looks nice. Okay, now let's see what else we can do. You don't want to over detail it. Might look worse off than before. So you can just go ahead, try to make some stuff happening. Like for instance, we can get a lane through here, seeing that as an opportunity. Along there, just inset it again. Going to inset again, bring this up, inset again. Now we get this, which is a nice visual detail. We can also try and see if it works nicer if we try doing something else. Yep, that works. That looks a lot nicer than before. Okay, now let's see what else we can do. I think this room here looks a little bit bland, so I'm just going to give it another circle. Like this. You might need to rotate some stuff around so it fits. Yeah, okay, I think that's looking good enough. Okay, now what we can do is, this is completely modular, so what we can do is just apply an array. As you can see, it will fit perfectly. Just make sure that merging is enabled. You can do an array to both sides. Enable merge here as well. And now what you want to do is get the subdivision modifier and put it below. Basically, this is how you make a modular panel. It looks really nice and detailed, especially if you have more iterations of it. As you can see, 2x2 looks really good. And an easy way to texture this is just by going into the shading editor, shader editor. I'm going to get myself a texture. Let me see. Okay, any metal would do. Let's just give this a basic material. I'm going to get the diffuse map in here, just apply it like this. Get the metalness, put it into the metallic, of course non-color data, roughness, put it in here. As you can see, because we haven't actually changed much about the model, it doesn't stretch too much. Of course, along here it does. An easy way to fix this is by giving this a mapping node and applying object orientation or mapping, and it should resolve most of the issues. As you can see right here, that is an easy way to texture it without actually making a specific UV map for it. You could actually import a normal map and a displacement map, which I'm going to do here just for showing purposes. Get in the bump node, 0.01, whoops, 0.001, and as you can see, it looks really nice. Now, I hope you liked this. I hope you could learn something from this. It's basically freeform. You can do whatever you want with it. And yeah, I wish you a pleasant day. See ya. Goodbye.